Welcome to Sweetheart Survivals. I'm Charlotte.
I'm Justin.
What's on our table today?
Machi Koro.
With the Harbor expansion.
Yep.
It's a game published by Pandasaurus and IDW Games.
Yep.
And with the expansion, you can play it up to 2 to 5 players. And it takes about 30 minutes.
Yep. Excellent. So up here should be some links to our overview on how to play the base game as well as the expansion. Also a link to our full playthrough with the expansion, so the full game.
Yeah, and we just finished that just now.
Yep. Excellent. So, what do you think of the components of Machi Koro?
I like the components of Machi Koro. I like the money. It's very cute.
Yep.
And I like the artwork on the cards. It's really cute.
Cute and very functional.
Yes.
So it's very easy to see what numbers have to be rolled for what cards to pay out.
And how much each card costs to get it in your city or your tableau.
Yep.
Yep.
I also like the color coding, so you know the reds are going to be kind of the take that aspects.
Yeah.
The blues are going to pay out on anyone's turn, the green only on your turn.
And the purple, yeah.
The purple are the major establishments, so you can only ever have one of those.
Right.
Or one of each kind anyway. Yeah.
And the colors aren't close together either, so they're really easy to identify, which is nice.
Yeah.
Yep. What do you think about the strategy of Machi Koro?
The strategy of Machi Koro is that there's no strategy in Machi Koro. That's not true. That's not true.
No.
There's a little bit of strategy, and it also kind of depends on whether or not you're playing just the base game or the expansion. With the base game, every single establishment is spread out on the table and available to get right from the get-go.
Right.
So
you can really tailor how you want to play.
Exactly, yeah.
How you want your tableau built up.
And you don't have to worry about, okay, what's going to be available this game, because everything is available in every game. That being said, in the base game, I found that there are two strategies. You either try to get a couple of cards that synergize really well together, and then hope that you're going to roll that one or two numbers that's going to pay out a lot.
Hope for the big payout.
Yeah. Or you spread out your cards to cover as many numbers as possible so that you're getting a payout every single round, even though it's smaller.
Right.
So those are kind of two of the base strategies I find with the base game. The tactics, of course, you're going to be rolling to see what you get each round, and then depending on how much money, is it better to save it? Is it better to go get a card? What does your opponent have? Because if you're saving money and they have a lot of cards that kind of take money from you, it's not good to save your money. So there's some tactics in there as well. However, everything is based off the die roll. So Machi Koro, the base game, is especially high on luck. So if you don't mind a lot of luck and randomness in your game, that's perfect, because in terms of tactics, strategy, and luck is what I find Machi Koro base game to be all about.
Right.
Yeah. Now with the Harbor expansion, there's a lot that changes, because you take all of the establishments, you shuffle them together in a great big random draw deck, and then you draw out 10 different establishments. So every game is going to be different, so that adds more randomness. Your strategy and the tactics shift significantly, because what you've got to do is you've got to look to see what's available, try to find those synergies so that you can start getting some of the big payouts. So your strategy and the tactics are going to be based off of what establishments come right out. And if you watch the playthrough, you'll notice that Charlotte got some really good synergistic cards into play quite early, and then rolled those numbers several times in a row.
Yeah.
And got really big payouts because of it.
Right.
And looking here, I've got 2 of my landmarks to all of hers, so it worked for her quite well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, still a lot of randomness, because again, if we were both set up that if either of us rolled a 1, it would hurt us, and then I kept rolling 1s and she didn't. So there's still this die, this random die affects so much of the game. And that's the kind of balance of Machi Koro. Just a lot of randomness because of the dice.
Right.
Yeah. What do you think of the complexity of Machi Koro?
I don't think it's overly complex at all. It's quite easy to teach.
Yep.
because all it is you roll the dice, and then you look on the cards that you have and see which cards activate.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much the whole game.
Yeah.
And then you just collect money to buy more cards to do the exact same thing. Roll more dice to see what cards activate, to get money to buy either more cards or to buy your landmarks.
Yeah.
Which is how you win the game.
I think the only
it's fairly
real
straightforward.
Yeah, I think the only real complexity is because certain cards will affect certain cards. Keeping in mind
keeping everything straight,
how everything interconnects,
and also once you start flipping up a lot of your landmarks, they have special abilities, and it's really easy to forget to activate them.
Yep.
And also, there's so many different kinds of cards as well.
Yeah.
Like if you play and say one certain card doesn't come out every time you play, you might forget how that card works, or you might forget to use its special ability, or that'd be the only complex thing.
Really the only thing is just kind of keeping an eye on your tableau of cards and which ones are kind of connected.
Right.
Yeah.
But setup and everything's a breeze. And
yeah.
It's awesome. What do you think about playability?
Mechanics versus theme. This isn't, I don't know, I don't find this to be an overly thematic game.
No, I couldn't say that it was overly thematic.
No. It's a bunch of cool cards that do cool things. And you do have things that kind of interact in a thematic way. One of your cards is...
Yeah, like the fruit and vegetable market.
Yeah.
Will interact with all your wheat establishments.
Yes.
So you're selling your apples and your wheat.
Yeah.
And your flowers.
So if you have a fruit and vegetable market, it makes sense that it would pay out more if you have a whole bunch of apple orchards that you also own.
Right.
So there is some really nice kind of interconnections with the cards that makes thematic sense.
Yeah, it's cool.
But at the same time, you're just rolling dice, activating cards, taking money, and buying more stuff. So it's kind of in the middle there.
Yeah, I could see this game rethemed really easily.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But I mean, the theme works as well. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
It scales really well, although I do find that it's a little bit better with more players.
Yeah, it is definitely more interesting with more players. Yeah.
There's a lot of the red kind of take that cards that activate and do a whole lot better when you have multiple players, because then you're taking money from everyone, which is a nice balancer so that people don't get kind of way ahead.
Right.
Or at least in theory.
In theory, yeah.
Yeah. The game length, the base game is a pretty short game, but the expansion adds a lot of extra time. One, it adds up to a 5th player, so having 5 players is going to make it go a little bit longer.
Right. It adds 2 more landmarks that you have to complete, so that puts on extra time.
Quite a bit of time. And then the fact that there's only the 10 establishments and it's random each time.
Yeah.
If you lay out the 10 and they're all really high numbers, that is going to stall the game for a long time, because there's nothing that you can buy that you can actually make money off of until later on.
Right. And it's also going to stall if, say, there's cards on, like, to choose from that don't work well with each other.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you're only getting, you know, like, every time you roll, you're just not hitting those numbers you need or getting those combinations.
Yeah, I remember rolling and going, I've just made $6. This is the most money I've made. Yay! And then you rolled and got like 20.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is true as well. Is it replayable? If you want, like with the base game, it's a very straightforward game that's going to be a very similar experience each time.
Each time you play. Yeah.
So it's definitely replayable because it's quick and easy and you get it out and then you play. Kind of like a gateway game.
And the only reason that makes it replayable is it's based on dice.
Yeah.
If it wasn't based on dice, you'd be playing the exact same game every single time you played.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So the base game really does kind of require that kind of luck fest. Yeah. As soon as you add the expansion in, the game is going to be completely different every time you play because of the way you shuffle all the establishments together and then have this kind of, this is what's available. That is going to be totally different every single time.
Right. You have to gear your tableau differently each time.
I like it better with the expansion because of that. I like how this is different, whereas before with the base game, it's the exact same setup, which I don't like as much.
Right.
Yeah. Does it have the awesomeness or does it have the cuteness?
I would have to say that this game has a little bit more cuteness than awesomeness, but they're really equal as well. But cuteness edges it out just a little bit.
How so? What's cute about the game?
all the artwork is so cute.
Mm-hmm.
I just love the little artwork and how the buildings do like interact with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
When I look at the artwork, I totally agree. I picture one of those little like Facebook games. It has that kind of like
cuteness,
cute, very easily to identify type cartoony look to it.
Yeah.
I'm surprised this isn't like a game online somewhere.
It could be.
It should be.
Or maybe they'll have an app soon.
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah.
What about the awesomeness? What is awesome about the game?
I tend to like luck and random based games a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So when I do roll that dice and you get just the right number, it's really exciting and I like it. I think that is a little bit of awesomeness in a game.
Nice.
Yeah.
There is definitely a little bit more tension when you have like basically how I do is going to be based off of what that die roll is.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you roll like 3 8s in a row, that gives you $18 every time.
Yeah.
I can see that being awesome.
It is awesome.
I've never experienced it in the game myself, personally. But I can understand why that might be awesome.
Right.
All right, so what kind of game group would this game be good for?
I think it would be good for people that are just getting into games.
Yep.
That just want a light game. Because
Yes.
it's not a heavy game.
No.
And people who are used to playing those roll and move luck-based games, it's definitely one step above those.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you've got a big group too, like I'd say 3 to 5, because it's really a lot better with more than 2 players.
Yeah. And it does a really, really good job of not having downtime.
Right.
At all.
Yeah, it engages you the whole time.
Yeah, because if somebody rolls something, you're looking at your cards going, well, this is going to activate and this is going to activate and I'm getting money. So
And especially more towards the end of the game where you're just kind of sitting there waiting for them to roll that one number you need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it does a great job of that.
Yeah, you can get caught up a little bit in that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree, kind of a gateway-ish game, but the interesting thing is as you play it more and more, you're going to get used to, or you're going to learn how the different cards are going to synergize. And then as you get better or more used to the game...
Yeah, you're always going to be looking for that one really sweet combo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that kind of, it's easy to get into, and then as you learn it and experience it more, you're going to get better at it, and then you're going to be strategizing more. So yeah, great gateway for that.
Yeah, I can see how that would happen.
Yep.
But when you play with the harbor and you've got those, it's all random, I would still play it more tactically. I wouldn't sit back and wait for that one combo to come up.
True.
Because that could take forever.
Yeah, that's true. Excellent. What's one thing you love and one thing you don't?
I love actually rolling the dice. And when you do hit that one great big payout, it's like the randomness. It's almost like gambling and playing the odds.
Yeah.
Because I definitely have that sort of personality that's drawn towards gambling a little bit. And
yeah,
so
we don't go to casinos.
No. So I get that that desire in me is satisfied by a game like this.
Okay.
Yeah.
And one thing you don't?
One thing I don't like about it is, like I mentioned earlier, with all the special abilities, it's really hard, or it's really easy to miss something that would benefit you in the game.
Yeah.
Just by forgetting, like, to use one of these. Or maybe you forget you flipped it already, and then you look at it, oh, I should have done that last turn.
Yeah.
Or you miss one of the combos in your cards or something, and that's a little bit hard to keep track of.
Yeah.
Once it gets large.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
What's one thing you love? Or like?
I really like how quick and easy it is to set up, and especially with the expansion. To me, the base game was really lacking because I don't enjoy games where it's the same setup, everything is available, and in order for you to get good at it, you need to invest a significant amount of time early on to learn what all the cards are.
Right.
Otherwise, you're just not going to be able to play.
Right.
So when you add the expansion, that variable setup, that you just shuffle everything and here's the 10 that are out, and then you just start playing.
And then you just have to deal with those 10 cards.
Yeah.
Yeah, you like that.
I love that because you can play and learn. I'm looking at 10 cards that I need to know right now. Well, I only need to know 5 of them because the other ones aren't going to be coming out until later on because I can only roll one die at the beginning anyway.
Right.
So the variable setup, I love that.
Right.
That's great. Combined with the fact that it is so easy to set up and just start playing. So I like that. What I don't like about the game is the fact that it is so heavily based off the roll of the die.
Yeah.
It is a luck fest.
That's so funny that you dislike that,
I know.
but I like that. Yeah.
One thing I love about it is a luck fest. One thing I do not like about the game is a luck fest. Yeah. Which is funny because I really like chucking dice.
Yeah.
But I really love there to be some way to mitigate. A
modifier.
Yeah, and there's really not.
Well, there's the...
except for the harbor.
The harbor.
But you still need to roll a 10 or
10
higher.
or higher, yeah.
So, if
there should be a card in there somewhere.
Yeah.
That if you activate it, you could add a plus or minus or something.
I mean, if I could, the very first thing I would do every single game is I would activate the radio tower, which lets me re-roll my dice once a turn. But it costs $22 to get that.
You could save up.
Yeah, like I'd have a wheat field and a bakery. 22 turns later.
I suppose.
If you don't steal any of my money.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I see how that could be unrealistic.
So it would be great if there were some landmarks that instead of doing these kinds of things, allowed me to mitigate the die roll. Then I could see myself getting much more into Machi Koro.
Right. And there's another expansion coming out.
Oh, yeah.
I can't remember right off the top of my brain what it's called now, but it's the one in the orange box.
Yeah.
And maybe there's something like that in there.
That'd be awesome. I know going from the base game to the expansion really opened the game up to me enjoying it, whereas the base game I did not enjoy it at all.
Right.
Like, period. So at least now I can enjoy it a little bit. So hopefully...
Hi, Kales.
Hopefully with the next expansion, if it's got some more of that luck mitigation, I could see me getting into the game a whole lot more.
Right.
Yep. And it's definitely funner with more people.
Yes, for sure.
Yep. Excellent. So, did we finish the game as sweethearts or rivals? We finished the game as
sweethearts.
Rivals.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, it's so cute, and you're just going with the flow, and you're rolling the dice. Never do I roll the dice and say, "Yes, I'm taking all of your money."
You just rolled another 8.
I get $18.
Yeah.
And I took all your money.
See, my strategy for this game, because I couldn't roll the 2 dice for a long time, I just started buying things that would activate on her turn. So a lot of my strategy was, I've got to take your money away from you.
Right.
Didn't work very well.
No, I was too far ahead.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Sweethearts for me. It's so cute.
I guess it switches. It depends on what's out there. I could see me playing a game without a bunch of the purple or red cards and just kind of almost solitary style.
And look, like,
being a sweetheart.
I have 1 red card.
Yeah, I know.
And it didn't even activate the whole game. Maybe once.
I think once. Yeah.
But anyway.
Anyway, yeah.
It's a strategy.
Yep.
Yep.
Right on.
So that's Machi Koro.
And Harbor Expansion. Yep.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks.
See you next time.
Laters. Thank you.